Hello friends, my name is Hitendra and welcome back to Automation Testing Insider.com. This is Selenium WebDriver Part 62 and today we are going to talk about an introduction to page object model. So in coming days I am going to start framework series using page object model from scratch. But before I start the framework series, it would be better to understand about page object model. Yeah, I think it's a good time to know about page object model. So there are few more components are remaining to be discussed, like we have Git and GitHub, and uh, we'll have we'll discuss about Jenkins. So these are the few components remaining, like page object model I'll cover today, and there would be one more session using page factory, and then we'll discuss about Git and GitHub, and then Jenkins, and after that we'll start the framework development. So let's concentrate today on this page object model. Okay, so let's get started. So what is page object model? So page object model is a design pattern to create object repository for web UI elements. So many people says that it's a framework, but it's not a framework, it's a design pattern to create the object repository for web UI elements. Okay, under this model what happens is, for each web page in the application there should be corresponding page class, or you can say Java class. Okay, so let's say if you have 10 pages in an application, so there would be corresponding 10 Java classes. Okay, and this page class will find the web elements on that web page and also contains page methods which will perform operations on those web elements. Okay, so this is my orange HRM application. Okay, and here this is login page. Okay, and we have different web elements here. We have image, we have this input box. Okay, username field, password, and login button, hyperlinks. So these are different web elements. So we'll store in a separate class called login page. We'll create a class called login page Java class, and we'll store all the web elements in that class, and we'll also write a corresponding method, user actions method. Okay, let's say like login, for to verify the login functionality, will write login test, like entering username and password and click on login button. So that is user action method. So we'll write that login method inside login page only. Okay, so this is non-POM structure. So we have class called class A, and it has web elements as well as corresponding user action methods, and we have test methods as well in the same class. Okay, so everything inside class A. Whereas in POM structure, what we'll do, we'll create web elements, we'll create a separate class called class A, and we'll store web elements and methods in that class, and we have separate class to verify the test cases, to validate the test cases. To create the test cases, we have class B, where we'll call the methods action methods from test methods class. Okay, and we'll verify our test cases. Okay, so we are going to discuss advantage in the next slide of having POM, but the biggest advantage of having POM is, by seeing these two structure, is, let's say suppose your locator gets changed tomorrow. Okay, let's say this username field gets changed. So what will happen, let's say we have 100 test cases in this test methods. Okay, in this class A we have 100 test cases, and we are going to use this login functionality in different test cases. Okay, so what will happen in case of any locator change for this login username? Okay, this username, what we have to do is, we need to go through each test cases and we have to update the locator. But whereas in this POM structure, what will happen, since we have separate class A, or you can say login page class, so simply we'll go there and we'll change the locator of this particular field username, and that will be used by this test method, and that will execute successfully. So that is the biggest advantage of having page object model. Yeah, so here we have different advantages and disadvantages. Okay, so we have many advantages of having page object model. So it will act as object repository. You can create an object repository of the field segmented page wise. We'll create like for login page, we'll create all the locators, we'll have all the locators in login page. For home page, we'll have all the locators in home page, like that. This as a result provides a page repository of the application as well. Okay, so that will act as a object repository of the application. Each page will be defined as a Java class, as we have discussed. Okay, and all the fields in the page will be defined in an interface as members. The class will implement the interface. Reusability. So we can reuse the page class if required in different test cases. So since we can reuse our methods as well, whatever will write user action methods here in login page, we can use those methods in different test cases from test layer. Okay, so there are two layers, guys. One is page layer, where we'll create all the page classes, and there would be another layer, test layer, where we'll create all the test cases. Okay, so I'll discuss about the architecture later on when we develop the framework from scratch, where I'll discuss the complete architecture of the page object model as well. And functional encapsulation. So all possible functionality or operations that can be performed on a page can be defined and contained within the same class created for each web page. So this is what we have discussed. So let's say we have all the locators in a same page class, and we'll have all the user actions method in the same class. So that will work as a functional, I mean encapsulation. Okay, low maintenance. So any user interface changes can swiftly be implemented into the interface as well as class. So the maintenance would be very easy, programmer friendly. So it will be more robust and more readable. Low redundancy, so duplication will be very less if you create the page object model, and it will be efficient and scalable, faster than other frameworks like data keyword driven and data driven approaches. And there are a few disadvantages, like it requires high setup time and effort, and we need skilled labor, like you should have very good knowledge on Java or any programming language when you uh, develop your framework. So you should have to construct this page object model. Okay, so you should have very good knowledge of object programming language. Okay, programming language. So how to implement this page object model? So there are two ways we can implement page object model. So we have basic approach, which we are going to discuss today, and there is another way, or you can say standard way, page factory approach. So generally we use this page factory approach using @find by annotation. So we'll discuss about page factory in the next session. So today we'll see like I mean demo on this one, basic approach. So what are the different steps to be followed to create page object model? So these are the steps. Okay, and these are the steps to create test classes. So first of all, we'll create a Java class for every page in the application. This is the first page, and second one is, in each class declare all the web elements as variable, and third would be implement corresponding methods acting on the variables. So yeah, let's start demo of page object model. So my Eclipse is already opened here. So what I'll do, I'll create a new project. I'll create Maven project. Next, create a simple project. Next, and I'll put POM demo. I'll use the same for artifact ID and click on finish. So here my project is created. So this is, since this is Maven project, so here you can see M and J. So you can see other projects we have only JJ here. So if you are creating Maven project, then it will come small m over here. And we have this POM XML. So we need to have few dependencies like Selenium Java jar files. Okay, we need to download. So for that we need to have dependencies, test engine. So already I have here in this notepad, so simply I'll copy. You can google it also, like Selenium Java Maven dependencies. So we have dependencies tag. Inside that we'll put our Selenium Java and TestNG dependencies. Okay, and simply do control S, so it will download all the jar files building workspace. So here you can see this Maven dependency got added, and it will download all the jar files. And yeah, let's get started. So we have folders here, src main Java, src test Java, and resources folder. So what I'll do, inside this src main Java folder, I'll create a package called com, give proper name com dot and then project name. So we are going to implement orange hrm, so I'll give orange hrm dot pages. Click on finish. And yeah, let's create package inside src test Java as well. So new package com dot orange hrm dot test cases or test. Click on finish. Now in this pages, what we'll write different pages. Okay, so simply I'll write couple of pages over here, couple of page classes. Okay, so let's say login page. Click on finish. And then I'll have one more page, let's say home page. Like this you have to create the page classes. Okay, and inside login page, what I'll do, now we have to locate the web elements. So how to do that? So we'll use by class, and we have method id. I'll do like this. How to locate the element? So this is the basic approach, guys. So we are not going to write directly like driver dot find element by dot xpath like that. We'll locate, we'll store in the form of variable. So how to locate? Let's say username. I'll take username like this, and by dot we have id method here, static method inside this by class. Okay, so simply we are storing the locator here in the form of variable. So simply inspect this username field. We have, one second, we have id txt username, so you can locate like this. And similarly for password, by dot, let's say this time take name locator. And how to locate password, inspect this, and we have name txt password. So just put password over here, and login button we have. So by dot, let's say xpath, we'll use xpath locator. So just inspect this, and right click, copy as xpath. So this is the xpath of this login button, so we can put it over here. Now we have three locators here in the form of variables, and let's inspect this image as well. So right click, copy as xpath, control F. So this is the xpath of that image. Okay, one of one we can find here, and simply write like logo. void dot xpath. Yeah, so this is basic approach to uh, locate your web elements. Now we'll write corresponding user action methods. So let's say we want to write method for this one to validate this orange HRM logo. So how to write? Public void validate logo, and here we have to write driver dot find element. Once again we have to declare the web driver here, web driver, and then we'll write like driver dot find element, and no need to write by dot xpath or anything because already we have covered here. We have stored all the variables locators in the form of variables. So simply write logo inside this, and we can write is displayed. Okay, and let's say it will return true, and we have to change the return type to boolean. So this is one method. We have written one user action method. Now let's write another method to log in into the application. Okay, so public void login method. Simply I'll use login method only. And how to log in into the application? So we have driver dot find element, and here we'll write username dot send keys method we have. So here I'll pass username, will perform the operation using send keys method. Okay, so these are user actions method. So here I have I'm performing an action is displayed, whether that logo is displayed or not. And to enter password, so similarly we'll write dot send keys. Second guys, dot send keys, and here I'll write this is the password. And finally we need to click on login button. Okay, so we have driver dot find element, we have login button locator, and then click operation. We have to perform click operation after entering username and password. So this is done login, and we have two methods, user action methods, validate logo and login method. Now what I'll do to initialize this web driver, what we'll do, we'll create one constructor over here. So public login page. So this is how we'll create the constructor which has the same name as class name, and we'll pass one parameter driver, and using this dot driver will distinguish global variable and local variable. So this will, when the constructor will be called when we create the object of this login page in other class. Okay, so this constructor will be called and it will initialize the this page class object. Okay, so that is the usage of constructor here. So now our page class is ready, login page. Now let's write test class here. So let's say login page test, and guys, you can use these generate comments always. So here you can see author Hitendra, my name is here, and you can put comments like this class is created on this particular date, you can give, okay, like this. And you can write some functionality also, it covers how many test cases, or if you do any modification you can write in the comments. So always I think it's good practice to add the comments in your page class or test classes. Okay. and here what we are going to do, we'll write public void validate logo test, or you can write simply verify logo. So this is our one of the test case I'm writing. So here I have added this annotation at the rate test annotation. So we have to import test from org.testng.annotation, and yeah, now we'll write. So to verify the logo, first we need to log in into the application. Okay, so we need to, yeah, we have to create the object of WebDriver, and then okay, we need to launch the browser, and then we have to navigate to this URL and validate this logo. So how to do that? So first of all, we have this system.set property. Okay, so it takes two parameters, this set property to set the WebDriver browser driver. Okay, and then here we'll write WebDriver driver is equal to new, let's say Chrome driver in this case, like this, and we have driver dot manage dot window dot maximize, and we'll navigate to that URL orange HRM. Here we have orange HRM URL, so I'll put it over here. So this will open the application, and now to create the to call the methods from home page login page class, what we need to do, we need to create the object of this login page class. Okay, so how to create the login page class? So let's create object here. So we have login page, and let's say login page new login page, like this we have to create, and this will take parameter, okay, driver. So we'll pass the driver instance from this login page. When we'll call this constructor from login page, then it will be the object of this class will be initialized, this WebDriver will initialize, and then the rest of the, I mean, it will initialize the WebDriver here, then it will find the element. Okay, so how to call the methods? So we have created the object of login page, so simply we can use login page dot, we have validate logo. Okay, so this one, now here we'll put assert to verify to validate that logo. We have assert true, and I'll put, let's store this in boolean, let's say flag, and if that flag is true, then this case will be pass. Okay, this case will be passed. So this is the first test case. Let's write one more test case. So this time verify, I'll write login. So do not worry about the duplication of code, guys. I'll write in a I'll tell you, we'll customize this class later on. So this is just to understand like how we write the test cases, and then I'll do some modification here. Okay, so similarly we'll do we'll have to remove these two lines. Now to login, we need to call, what is the method? We have to call this login method from login page class. So we have this login method, so simply we'll call this login method, and let's validate what will happen after logging into the application. Okay, so let's log in into the application, admin and admin 123. So let's verify after logging into the application the URL should be this. Okay, so let's write driver dot find element, sorry, driver dot get current URL. You can write, and this will give you the current URL and will store in string variable current URL like this, and I'll put one assertion over here. So assert equals, and what is actual, so this is my actual result, and what would be the expected. Let's write this actual URL, and I'll store another expected URL, and what would be my expected URL, this is my expected URL. So I'll put it over here, simply semicolon at the end. Now I'll verify actual versus expected. If they are matching, then this test case will be passed. So this is we have two classes, two test methods, verify logo and verify login. Now we are good to go. So let me just quickly recap. So we have created a couple of uh, page classes. We have login page and home page. Home page we have not written anything. So in this login page we have located different web elements. Okay, so these in the form of variables. So here we have stored in by class variable, and we have constructed to initialize the object in this page class, and we have this validate logo method, user action method, validate logo, and we have one more corresponding method, login method. Okay, and we have written one corresponding test class, login page test, where we have a couple of test cases, verify logo and verify login, and using assertion we are verifying what test case. So let me just run this program. So right click and run as TestNG test. So browser is launched, so it will execute the first test case. Logging into the application, and it will verify the, sorry, we have not written driver dot close or quit, so that's why it is not closing the browser. We'll write that. And this is the second test class, so you can simply close manually. We'll write close as well. You can write at the end close as well. So here you can see two test cases, both are passed. Here you can see verify login and verify logo. Now what we'll do some modification in this test classes. Okay, in this test class login page test. So here you can see this duplication of code, right? We have this initialize of this WebDriver in this test method as well. Okay, two times. So how we can write, we already seen in the TestNG. So we'll write public void setup method, and simply copy paste and this entire line of code and put it over here. Okay, and what I'll do, login page, I'll do one thing. So from here we'll remove this 5 lines of code from this class as well. And what I'll do, since we are using this login page object in both the test case, so we'll declare at top. So how we can write login page, and here we can use like login page, correct? We can write like this, and here in this setup method simply will do like this. Okay, we'll create the object in setup method of login page class. Okay, and here you can see then we have used this login page in this verify logo object, this login page object, and here as well. One second, and we have to declare WebDriver as well, public WebDriver and driver. Use this WebDriver uh, declare at top publicly so that we can use inside setup method and other methods as well. In this verify login we need this driver, and yeah, this login page here we have used, and in this verify logo method as well. And what you'll do, we can do one more thing. Yeah, so one second, verify logo, and here you can see, yeah, so when we call this login page login method, okay, so the moment when user enters username and password and user and lands on this home page, so what will do, it will store in home page object. Okay, home page, simply will write, okay, so that will return the home page object. So here we'll write, let's write home page object as well, and we have to import home page from this, okay, orange pages login page, sorry, this home page. So here we have created the object of home page, and simply put like this. Okay, and that method will return. So here you can see, guys, so here we have written in login page, we have written this login method. Okay, so that will return, okay, that will return, what it will return, it will return home page class object. Okay, home page class object. So how to create the home page class object? Like this, and you can do like this, and it will return home page. Okay, so this is how we need to write. So this is how, this is also called page chaining model. So in page class, when we write this method login page, so after entering username and password, when we click on this login button, it will it will land on this home page, so it will return home page class object. Okay, so that's why we have return new home page, so it will create the home page object. This is the return type. Okay, so you'll understand this while creating the framework when we write different pages, okay, different page classes, then you'll understand like what is the use of returning the landing page objects. Okay, so this is just for time being, you can understand. So here my login test is ready. So we have this setup method to initialize the WebDriver, and yeah, we have to remove this WebDriver from here because we have already declared at top. Now this is fine, and I think all good. We'll write one more method. Yeah, well, this should be before method. Okay, and to close the browser, we'll write one method, public void tear down, and this should be after method, and here simply we'll write driver dot close. Now all done. Okay, now this is perfect page object model, you can see, and yeah, and you can compare the advantages which we have seen. So it will act as object repository. So here you can see in login page we have stored all the elements, web elements, in the form of variables, in the form of object repository. And reusability, we can reuse the page class if required in different test cases. So let's say we are going to use this is valid login test, right? Verify login. Let's say I'm going to use for invalid login. So but definitely, yeah, we need to call this login page. Okay, so we can call the same method, same this login method in different test classes. Okay, in different test methods or in different test classes. Okay, functional encapsulation. So here you can see we have written the variables, we have created the object repository, and we have corresponding user action methods. So this will work or act as object sorry functional encapsulation. Low maintenance, programmer friendly, and low redundancy. The duplication is very less here. Okay, so whatever corresponding web elements are here, we are using here, and there would not be any duplication when we use the same object in different test classes. Then we can simply uh, create the object of that particular class like login page, and then we can call the methods and variables. Okay, and you can do one thing here. This is hard coded, this username and password. So what we can do here, we can simply write string uname username, and we can write like this password, and simply we have to pass username over here and password here. Sorry, oh sorry, we have taken same. So let's say we have to change the variable name here. So copy and put it over like this. So this is done, and we have to just, while calling, we need to pass the variable from here while calling the method. So this login page, so here from here we can call admin and then admin123. So our test case is very robust now. Okay, everything is done. Now let me just run this program again. This is script run as TestNG test. This is the first test case, and the second test case. And every time, guys, you should use always a new browser session. Okay, every time new browser will be opened, new browser session. So that's why we have initialize our driver in this setup method. So every time browser will be launched, okay, for all the test cases. So in that case, for separate test case, okay, so that in that case your browser will not be exhausted, okay, and it will run smoothly. So this is how we can implement page object model. And what I'll do, I'll put the code, source code, in my blog going forward. So here you can see Selenium tutorials, we have all the concept here, Selenium tutorials. Okay, so I'll put the second part of extent report over here, and then this page object model as well going forward. Okay, and probably in couple of days I'll create a post on this. So let me just recap the procedure, the steps which we have followed. So create a Java class. So we have created the Java class for every page. For today we have just seen like home login page, okay, and we have created one more page, home page. So probably we'll look into that in the next session when we talk about this page factory method, page factory approach using @find by annotation. Okay, and we have implement corresponding methods acting on the variable. So we followed all these steps to create page object. Okay, and steps to be followed to create test cases. So initialize the driver and open the application. So this is what we have done using this setup method, and we have create an object of page layer class and pass the driver instance. So here you can see we have created the object of this login page, and here we have used, okay, yeah, here we have created the object, sorry, this one, login page, and we are passing the driver instance. So exactly we are following the same steps which I have written over here, and using the object call the method from page layer class and repeat step 3 until the all actions are performed, and close the browser. And always you should, yeah, that is the main funda behind this object uh, model approach. Always you should not verify your test cases in page classes. Okay, so you should always have corresponding test classes. Like we have this login page test, here we are verifying this logo. Here you can see using this assert statement, and this login functionality using this assert equals method. So this is all for today, guys. In the next video I'll talk about a page factory approach. So thank you for watching. Have a nice day. Yeah, bye bye.